allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to have a motion to seal the minutes pursuant to RSA 91A32I, please.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Council Burns.
Aye.
Council Thompson.
Aye.
Council Cast.
Aye.
Council Bowden.
Aye.
Council Weinstein.
Aye.
Council Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And anybody here to speak under public forum?
Hi.
Please do.
Hello, my name is Monica Christopoli. Last week I submitted my application to be a Newmarket representative on the Lamprey River Advisory Committee, and I came here tonight to read my background description on the application, which I'm assuming you guys already read, but I'm going to read it anyway. My professional background includes 10 years instructing college writing with PCC in Oregon and with the community college system here in New Hampshire. It also includes freelancing for Edible New Hampshire and community volunteering and organizing. In reference to volunteering and organizing, from 2015 to 2016, I was a resident member of Newmarket's Record Retention Committee, and this past 2017, I co-organized Mindful Mondays, which is an ad hoc monthly Newmarket lecture series focusing on issues of environmental and social justice as they affect the Seacoast. Through these presentations made at Mindful Mondays from NHDES scientists, grassroots advocates, and state representatives, I learned about our local watershed in a way which I had not before, including about our Lamprey River. Since then, I have attended these council meetings and subcommittee meetings where I've observed municipal meeting protocol. I also became a board member of the New Hampshire Community Rights Network, a founding member of the Ad Hoc Alliance for Newmarket Citizen and Ecosystem Rights, and I recently completed a grant writing training at the New England Grassroots Environment Fund's Root Skills Conference, and LRAC needs help with grant writing, I hear. Finally, this December 5th, 2017, I attended a Lamprey River Advisory Committee meeting by invite. I requested if I could go, where I learned about how the group is organized and what its responsibilities are, including what its subcommittees are. In summation, with my concern for our community watersheds, my strong organizational skills, and my investment in lifelong learning and civic contribution, I look forward to approval of my application and the opportunity to represent Newmarket on the LRAC committee. And finally, I wanted to give you guys all an update on Newmarket's right-based ordinance effort. I mentioned the group ANSWER in my application paragraph. That stands for Alliance for Newmarket Citizen and Ecosystem Rights. We are still an ad hoc group, although we intend to become incorporated, but we have officially engaged the help of CELDEF, the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund, a nonprofit public interest law firm, to draft Newmarket's RBO, which is still intended to focus on protecting our town watershed from future chemical trespass. And currently we have a mailing list of almost over 100 people, all by word of mouth. We haven't done any official campaigning yet about the RBO. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing nobody else from the public, I close public hearing at 7:10 p.m. And I would now like to accept a motion to approve the minutes of the December 6th non-public meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 6th non-public meeting.
Second.
Please call the, any revisions, any comments? Please call the roll.
Council Burns.
Aye.
Council Thompson.
Aye.
Council Cast.
Abstain.
Council Bowden.
Aye.
Council Weinstein.
Aye.
Council Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0 to 1.
And I'd also like to accept a motion to approve the minutes of the December 6th regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 6th regular meeting.
Second.
Any comments or changes?
Excuse me.
Please call the roll.
Council Burns.
Aye.
Council Thompson.
Aye.
Council Cast.
Aye.
Council Bowden.
Aye.
Council Weinstein.
Aye.
Council Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And the report of the town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, on two items that are not on my written report. I want to give an update on the Municipal Budget Committee. We had a public hearing on Monday evening. The budget was unanimously recommended as the council approved it to go on the ballot, as well as the collective bargaining agreement between the town and the police union. I just want to let the council know that. Second item, I'm going to be introducing an ordinance at the next meeting after discussing it with the rec director, public works director, and the police chief. We've been having lots of requests to lease parking spaces in town, and we do make money off this. With the Beach Street Senior Center coming to the town, we have parking spaces there that we could lease. So I'm going to amend the Chapter 30 of the ordinance that outlines which spaces and recommend that we lease those. What we do is you basically say, if vehicles are parked in a public parking spot between the hours of 1 and 5 in the morning, they get a ticket unless you have a permit. So that way, it's basically to allow people to go in there and plow it. But this is a lot that's underutilized, but still in the area where people could walk to use it. So I just wanted to let the council know that before they saw that.
Okay.
On my written report, at the end of November, not January, fiscal year 18 budget is at 45% expended. This is normal for this period of time and under where we were last year. Fire overtime still is higher at 62%, and I'm monitoring it with the fire chief. It's the stipends that we're now paying to ensure we have coverage on the weekends, because we're having an issue with that.
Right.
Revenues are doing fine. Currently, we've collected $612,314 in motor vehicle registrations. This is a slightly higher increase over the same period last year. Just want to let you know that Eversource took a tour of the wastewater treatment facility to see energy efficiency measures that we installed as part of the new design. They're going to be able to get the town $66,220 in rebates for the efforts that we've done. This will come back to the town actually as cash, which is a rarity for rebates. So, it's good to hear. And just so we're looking at some of the numbers that we have, and I want to make the council aware of this for our planning next year. That we're looking at the books of the amount of uncompensated absences that we have. Currently, for all employees, we have $327,412 on the books for uncompensated, for liability for compensated absences, sorry. This would be as if we were to shut down and every person left employment, what we owe them in earned time. We don't think that's ever going to happen because we're not going to shut down right away. However, in the coming year, 12 employees are eligible for retirement. Well, I do not think they will. Some will. The current liability for this is about $110,000. The capital reserve fund that's set up has $10,000 in it. If they were to retire, we would have to make up the difference somewhere on an annual budget. So I just wanted to let the council know that that's probably something we should begin looking at again for investing in. Even if we put something in the personnel policy about compensated absences, everybody who's got it is already grandfathered. Usually that's the past practice, so we'd still have this on the book. I wanted an update on the MS4 lawsuit that the coalition of municipalities across the state are doing. I did have a conference call yesterday. It's moving forward. It is attorney-client privileged at this time still, so I can't say it in public, but it is moving forward, and we'll have more information probably within the month of where we are. But they just want to let the council know that it's not just out there in the ethers. And finally, I just wanted to wish everybody the happiest of holidays and Merry Christmas, and everybody be safe. So I have time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Weinstein?
I just had a couple questions, I guess. So my first is about the rebate that we're going to receive. I'm assuming that those funds would be returned to the wastewater?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that it doesn't go back to the general fund
No.
or anything. And then along those lines, or at least in regards to the wastewater treatment facility, I just wanted to comment that the level of nitrogen that has been reduced is incredible. Like, it's just really extraordinary that we have reduced the amount of nitrogen by these levels that it's going into the lamprey. So thank you, Sean. That's all.
Okay, next, any committee reports? Council Burns?
The planning board did meet last week. I don't have a whole lot for us, but everything that we did discuss ended up being continued till the next meeting. So.
And then we move on to old business. Resolution 2718-19, an engineering contract for water demand and wastewater capacity build-out analysis for the Environmental Services Department. Whereas the town has entered into an administrative order on consent so that its wastewater treatment plant total nitrogen permit limit would be an 8 milligram per liter instead of the more stringent 3 milligrams per liter, and whereas the AOC requires the town to complete a total nitrogen control plan by September 30th, 2018, and whereas the town sent out a request for proposal and determined that Wright Pierce has submitted the best proposal and has the necessary resources to complete the work. Now therefore be it resolved that the Newmarket Town Council does hereby approve the town administrator to sign a contract with Wright Pierce for engineering services to perform total nitrogen control plan for the sum of $140,742. And,
The Director of Environmental Services is going to speak to this.
okay.
Yeah, you need a motion in a second, though.
Yes, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Could I have a motion to approve that resolution, please? And second.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-2018-19.
Second?
Okay, thank you for having me tonight. The total nitrogen control plan is a requirement by administrative order. If you remember, as the administrative order, just quickly, the administrative order, we had to build a plant to meet NATE. We had to go out and keep track of nitrogen tracking. And then the last two things was do a total nitrogen control plan, and by December 2022, we were supposed to have a report ready to say whether we go to the 3 or stay at the 8. So what we did was, there's not a lot of people in this area that have done total nitrogen control plans. Wright Pierce is currently doing a total nitrogen control plan with Exeter because they have the same administrative order of consent. So I basically found some RFPs and RFQs, and I kind of sent an RFQ with an outline of what we were looking for. But we wanted to see them come back with their proposal on how they were going to do it. So I sent it out to roughly around 20 to 25 firms, and we ended up with 3 returns: Hoyle Tanner, Wright Pierce, and Underwood Engineers. I put together a team to do the interviews, which consisted of the town planner, the facilities director, and the DPW director. I thought it was very important to have those others included because they're part of the MS4. So they're definitely going to be involved in this. So we received the proposals. One proposal was not very good. It did not follow the proposal, the RFP. But we brought them in anyway and had them give a proposal as well, and that was Hoyle Tanner. Hoyle Tanner did not give a very good presentation. We followed up with reference checks, and part of their team did not come back very well on some of the reference checks. So we eliminated Hoyle Tanner from the process. We were left with Underwood Engineers and Wright Pierce. Underwood Engineers really had no experience. Wright Pierce has had experience. They're doing it with Exeter. They also had teamed with Horsley and Witten, this is what they do. This is their expertise, and they had done several down in the Massachusetts area. So they had a lot more experience. However, looking at the 2 bids, they were roughly $14,000 apart. And we wanted to go back and look and say, are we getting the best bang for our buck? What are we getting? So we asked Underwood Engineers to give a specific scope of exactly what they were going to do and their partners were going to do, detailed. We did the same thing with Wright Pierce. Came back, and upon review, we looked at it, and I kind of knew what was happening following looking at the presentation, looking at everything that I've seen. Ideally, Underwood Engineers did not include looking at the wastewater treatment plant. And I think that's a very important piece. Right now, we're down to around 5 milligrams per liter. We could possibly remove more nitrogen at a lesser cost as going out and doing it on a non-point source. So it's very important that we look at it. We could use carbon, we could do some modeling. So what I got back from Wright Pierce, it was blended into their proposal, and it was roughly $14,000 to do that piece. So the group felt very confident that when you actually subtract that out, it's pretty much the same price as what Underwood was doing, and you had comparable scopes. So knowing that they have experience where Underwood didn't, the prices are pretty close to the same. The group is, we're recommending that we go with Wright Pierce to do this work. Questions?
Wow.
There's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of history that we've been doing.
Yeah, I know.
mean,
I gotta
you're
explain
on
it so
top of
everybody
it,
understands
Sean.
it,
No,
you know?
no, that's good.
Counselor
You've done well.
Well, so my question is, you just mentioned the MS4, the coalition, and I'm just curious how this all ties in.
Well, here's the difference.
Or
Yeah.
does it tie in? Maybe it doesn't.
Two different things. One is this is for a wastewater plant to get the nitrogen levels down the bay. MS4 is an overall plan for that. The MS4 coalition, we agree, we need to get nitrogen levels and what we put into the water down.
Right.
Our argument is, it's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all. Our permit shouldn't be the same as Massachusetts, and that's our argument right now. Boston is different than Newmarket and Portsmouth. What we have here and impervious surfaces around here is different. So we're still doing all the stuff to make sure we reduce our nitrogens and other runoffs. We just didn't want the federal regulations and what they're saying, that they're putting on us right now, and we're trying to figure a way what we can do. Not to say we don't need it. We want to say, look, this one doesn't fit us. It doesn't fit New Hampshire.
So but as we're putting more and more funds into reducing our nitrogen, whether
Mhm.
it's through the wastewater or the MS4, is that going to change? Do we,
No.
you know what I mean? Do we foresee that?
No, I mean, for example, our understanding in the Massachusetts one, which we're going to get for the permit, there's things that say such things as you cannot use a mechanical item to take materials off of an impervious surface. That means that we can't use leaf blowers anymore. That kind of stuff that we're saying, it shouldn't be in a permit. Doesn't make sense. This is stuff like, say, look, we're going to work to fix our zoning to make sure we don't put as many buildings right near the water. We're going to look at planning and site review to have more impervious surface and rain gardens to help with those things. Work with our drainage to make sure, but it shouldn't be a federal regulation. For some reason, New Hampshire is one of 3 states in the entire country that the DES, the state agency, does not regulate it. We gave up that right to the federal. So that's why we have to do it this way.
So this plan is really to look at the dollars on making choices on where you remove your nitrogen. That's what it comes down to. So you're going to make a choice whether you put a rain garden over here, or if you change your zoning, or if you maybe start adding carbon to the wastewater treatment plant to try and remove more nitrogen. That's what this plan is. And I think eventually you would have to do it anyway for the MS4, even if they weren't making us do it at the wastewater plant, so we didn't have to go to a 3.
One question I have is just sort of the relationship, because Underwood is sort of the engineering firm of record for the town. And in this case, they bid for essentially some more specialized work. Is that a fair way to?
Yep.
I think the biggest thing is we look at projects and then we evaluate whether it's something that should go to the Underwood or if it's something that should go out, if we should look for more expertise.
Right. And for example, we would do the same for legal counsel. Well, Donahue, Tucker, Chindler are our attorneys of record. If there was, our environmental lawyer is Dana Bisbee from Pierce. Which firm is he? What's the name now? What's the name now? It's Dana Bisbee.
Divine Milliman.
Divine Milliman now.
Yeah.
But so we ask sometimes for specialized counsel in either
And
situation.
when you look at it, Underwood Engineers is a team of 50, where Wright Pierce has a lot more depth. They have 200.
Yeah.
They have a lot more staff to help you.
And this is really would be a pretty much totally different team at Wright Pierce, and we. At the time I became involved with the dam committee, Wright Pierce had done some work on the dam committee, but it's really a different group of
Yeah.
It is,
engineers
yes.
from between the
Yes,
two.
they try and give you what you need.
Right.
the specialties. So, yes.
Well, I think I've dragged this conversation as long as possible, so could we call a roll, please?
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson, sorry.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden. Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, and let me get to the next one.
Read by title.
Okay. Resolution 2017-18-21, authorizing the town administrator to enter into a contract with Patriot Mechanical to make repairs to the town hall heating system and fresh air intakes. And accept a motion to approve this resolution, please.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2017-2018-21.
Second. Ask the facilities director to address it.
Good evening again.
Hello.
We need to make some repairs to our heating system in this facility. Currently, this facility has several leaks in the system, and since our piping is not in insulated areas, it also has an antifreeze system or a glycol system. And unfortunately, we've been making up water for the leaks and now diluted our antifreeze system down to a level that is only good for 10 degrees before it hits that freezing threshold. So we need to repair the leaks, recharge the system with glycol, and then we also have some fresh air intakes that intake the air from the outside to bring it into our air handlers that are also having some problems and allowing actually birds and things like that to enter the building, so we're trying to avoid that. So these are repairs to the heating system here at Town Hall.
Counselor Thompson.
Steve, would you refresh my memory on what maintenance contracts we have with what companies in town? I know, for instance, the police department air conditioner and those sorts of things, don't we have a maintenance contract?
We do have a maintenance agreement for preventive maintenance only, not repairs, with a company called Thermodynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And they were one of the companies that gave us the pricing to make the repairs. They're not the only company that does work here. We've had Dowling.
Correct.
They were also contacted to give us a bid here. They chose not to provide us with a bid.
So that contract for maintenance, does that cover this building?
It does.
But it's not,
Not-
they give checkups, they don't do surgery if there's something wrong. Put it
That's
like
at an
that.
extra cost.
I don't know,
I know, if you're asking why wasn't it brought up, I believe it may have
When they
been.
do a PM,
Yeah.
when was this problem brought to anyone's attention? Who found it? And if they have a contract to do PMs where this stuff should be typically found, I recognize that pinhole leaks can happen in a split second. I'm sure you understand where I'm going with
I
this.
know where you're going with this, and I'm trying to think how to tactfully answer this.
Uh-huh.
I did inspections on the facility and found some things that I felt should have been taken care of through their regular preventive maintenance or through a reporting aspect of it.
Correct.
That didn't happen.
Mhm.
And so in pushing to get those things repaired, because I knew that our glycol levels were down and we have leaks down in the boiler room, we need to get those fixed. That's how we move forward. Since they're the contractor that does the preventive maintenance, I asked them to give us a price. I also asked other contractors to give us a price. We also ran into the problem this summer with the air conditioning systems that were not properly proper preventive maintenance was not done, so those were all brought back to them, and actually I made them do it again,
At no cost.
at no cost.
And that's where I'm going. Again, this is, well,
We
you
do
know
have-
my
and there is
background,
a-
and my very dear friend did this for a living, so.
We do have a bid opening tomorrow
Mhm.
for HVAC service contractor for the town facilities. That was put out several weeks ago.
Mhm.
I currently, right now, have 2 physical submissions. They're sealed bids, so I couldn't tell you what they are.
No, and
Um,
right.
I have 2 submissions. I know there's 2 other companies that have expressed interest in providing us. When I provide you with the results to that and request to accept it, I will tell you right in that I submitted this out to 9 different companies, and I also posted it on our website and contacted Construction Digest to get it posted out there. So as of right now, I have 2. I'm hoping to see more than 2. The company that currently does our service is one of the 2 companies that's submitted.
The company that currently does our service and I had a colorful discussion this summer, and knows of my anger with their company.
I was going to say extreme displeasure, but that
I'll
works.
say, no, I'll say anger. It was not even.
I did have to inform Steve when I found all of these things of what was going on, and we did
Yeah.
we did require them to make adjustments to what they had done.
So if you don't get 3 bids, is there, Would you consider putting-
I'm expecting at least 4.
okay,
If we don't, we have the right to rebid.
thank you.
We always have that right.
I would be a fan of that happening,
Yeah.
based on our less than colorful discussion right now. Okay.
We have
Thank
3
you.
bids, right?
Tells me what I needed to know.
We have 3 bids, right?
Yeah.
Council Bowden?
I'm glad to see 3 bids. 55 gallons of propylene glycol is quite a bit of antifreeze, so it's certainly needed. Glad to see you recommending the low bidder, so kudos for that. And
I'll be honest with you, it was a struggle to get bids for this. I contacted a lot of companies, and the low bidder is actually out of Maine also. I couldn't get any local people to respond to my request to bid. So I went to everybody I could. It took me 3 weeks to get these bids.
Is that just because people don't like to bid something that small, or?
I had a couple companies not even call me back. So I can't answer what, I know one of the companies just said they weren't interested in.
This is not a big job,
It isn't a big job, no.
so, okay.
Okay. Counselor Weinstein.
Can you just talk a little bit about the overall health of our boiler and where we're at with that in the grand scheme of things?
If you want to do a health rating on that, and I guess you can go to the doctor and ask the pain levels, was it a 1 to 10 pain level? 10 being, what, the worst. We run right around a 7 right now. The heating plant here is in very rough condition. I met with our business manager about consumption of oil just this week. We went through 1,000 gallons in basically a 3-week period in this building. And if you can, I know the audience can't hear it, but you can hear the boiler running. It hasn't shut off the entire time we're here. It is in rough shape. It leaks. It's old. There's actually 2 of them. There is no energy management control system. The system is quite freewheeling. You could actually have heat and cooling calling at the exact same time, and we've had that since my tenure here, so we've had to shut down the boilers this summer because of that. It's in rough shape. I can tell you, you will come by here any given day and you'll find people with windows open because we can't control the heat in particular offices, or we have no heat in other offices. We are working, and you'll see one of the first readings tonight, and that is a submission to engage with a company to do an energy audit with the thought process of possibly doing a performance contract to replace things like heating systems and adding control and energy improvements throughout this particular facility. It's on its last legs. I can't sugarcoat it anyway, and I'm not going to. I mean, it's rough.
Call the roll, please.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Resolution 2017-18-22, authorizing the town administrator to sign a contract with Wright Pierce for engineering services to perform construction, administration, and oversight for the wastewater treatment plant improvements project. Okay, I would accept a motion to approve such a resolution.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2017-2018-22.
Dash 12, I think.
22.
Oh, isn't it right? I'm sorry. Oh, it's just misprinted down.
Ah.
Yes.
Second, sorry.
The Director of Environmental Services can explain the...
Well, this has been a long project. That's what I gotta say. When we started this project, we were looking at a 40-year-old plant. We were looking at, in some terms, a 30-year-old plant. We had much more needs than we had money. So we tried to be very smart, and we probably designed the layout of this dewatering building like 6 times to try and get the best fit and the lowest dollar cost. But as you see in my staff report, the way we structured the bid, we didn't think we were going to have enough money to do everything we needed to do. Actually, we kind of knew it. So we actually did bid alternates. So if the bids came in favorably, we could juggle the bid alternates and get the most in and get the best dollar for the town. Get a lot of work done so we don't have to go back. Well, Wright Pierce and I did such a good job, saving money and doing things differently and trying to make things work, that we actually have more money left over to do more things. And when I mean those more things, they're just not extras. We're new roof on the dewatering building, new roof on the maintenance building, which, you're talking 30-year-old roof, 35-year-old roof. So there are things that needed to get done. We ran into the so the change orders weren't to change something that, a lot of times your change orders are to fix things that you didn't see along the way. We had it covered pretty good, so the town's getting more and more stuff, so we won't have to come back. But because of that, for example, another reason why, because of all that work, you need to give the contractor more time. So this was a 2-year project. Wright Pierce had for oversight and was till May of this year. We saw that we were running out of money, so we dialed them back a little bit. And some of my staff took some of the oversight over to try and extend that. But we ran out of money, I want to say, at the end of October, right around November 1st. But we have this money that it's our grant money, because if you understand how the loan works, you have to spend the money before you get the grant money. So you have to spend $10.3 million, and then everything beyond that is grant money. So if you don't spend it, it just goes back. We still have needs. So at the end of the day, I'm here because we need Wright Pierce to help continue to do the oversight on some of the additive stuff that we're getting that we didn't expect to get, like the clarifiers. Also, we lost our drying bed where we used to dump the VACCON for the street cleaning, so we had no place to dump our VACCON. We've been taking it over to Exeter because they've been a good neighbor to us, but they can no longer take it. We're also getting a place where we can dump the VACCON so we can clean our sewers. So we're not just getting stuff to get stuff, we're actually fulfilling needs, and we're actually checking off all that list that we had at the beginning of the project that we didn't think was going to get done. And then we'd have to turn around and budget and get those things done down the road. So by doing what we did, the town is actually getting a better bang for their buck.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. I mean, for example, the Environmental Service Department emptied the 2 digesters ourselves and cleaned them ourselves. Costed about $10,000 per digester, and the estimated cost for the contractor to do it was $100,000 a piece. So we're able to replace things that needed to get replaced.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's great to have it running, and it's great to be able to really get these extra things done. And seeing no lights, please call the roll.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks, Sean. Merry Christmas.
Better rectification.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
I would request that the town council remove resolution 1718-20,
Dash eight.
18 from the table.
Okay, could we have a motion to do that, please?
I'll make a motion to remove resolution 2017-2018-18 from the table.
Second.
Okay, do we need a vote to do that
Yep.
first? Okay, please call the roll.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. This is the resolution that was before the council last week for the municipal financial software, and actually it's total municipal software package. There was a request for more information for the second bid, so we provided that in there, as well as a summary of the two bids. Want to make sure you guys had the information. If you had any questions, the finance director's here, so you could ask, and looking for approval of the resolution.
Counselor Thompson.
I think as we talked about the last time, this is clearly a ton of money. Is this the only way to go based on what we have? Is what we have not working?
What we have is no longer being serviced, correct. And it's getting to end of life.
If the town were to do something, I mean, part of this to me has been the two pieces of the school side, the town side of all of that. What does it run for the town to just do an accounting program?
We can't just run an accounting program because the programs also are billing our billing our receivables, our, yeah,
Right,
HR, PR, yeah.
but there's a module to handle the school
No, there is
portion
not
of it?
in there.
This is town only?
This is town only. Town only is town is actually a much more robust system because you also have to consider motor vehicle registrations, utility billings. Those are all the systems that we have to put in. And sadly, once the system goes, it's every system.
Is it compatible with the school side?
It is the same company as the school side. We don't have the same system. We won't have the same system because the school is more receiving money,
Mhm.
and ours is more billing
Yeah.
that side, the utilities and that issue. But it will be similar to the both sides. They will also have modules for billing in building inspections, because right now it's just normal cash transfers, as well as other departments. So it's a very robust system. I completely understand the price. To be quite frank, it's something we should have done a long time ago. Because it was known it wasn't going to be serviced any longer because it was purchased. The system we had was purchased by another company. And we looked at every way to do it. Financing it is the best, instead of having the initial $700,000 cost.
Well, it's certainly, I mean, I can remember Matt talking, warning us, this is going to hurt. and
I
it's
just can't
coming.
believe that it's only two companies that do this in the entire planet.
And there isn't, but those are the two that bid. There was there's three. One, it didn't, Interware it did not respond. It was not the correct bid. I know there's another company in Franconia. It's not robust enough for our community. I think maybe that's why they didn't put in. It's a much smaller community than we have, especially when it comes to utility buildings. But, yeah, these are the ones.
What did you use in Portsmouth in?
Exeter just signed with Munis. I believe Dover's signing with Munis. Goffstown. I don't know what Portsmouth has. They may, I'm not sure there.
Councilor Bowden?
Mentioned that Interware was not robust enough.
They actually did not submit a complete RFP. They don't have an accounting system software.
But aren't they bidding the motor vehicle portion of it?
They're still doing the motor vehicle portion. That's part of it. And we actually trying to figure out why they even put in, because they didn't follow the RFP. The RFP was for an accounting system software. We wanted to show that they didn't put that in, but yes, the motor vehicle registrations is still through there. If you wanna-
And honestly, I had Interware's financial software, and it was significantly out of date with upgrades as well. So we, in another community I was in, actually removed that software. And there were only 2 other communities in the state that were using it, so they weren't really keeping up with the things that needed to be as well. So even if Interware was to give their financial, I wouldn't be able to support us going to that product. The product we have now would be better, but they're not upgrading it as well.
I just want to give a history of the process that we went through.
Sure.
This has actually started prior to the finance director coming on board. The previous finance director and I began the RFP process, I want to say almost 2 years ago. We brought in a number of firms to just look at our systems, meet with us, and actually meet with the stakeholders, the clerks, the finance department, to see which one they were interested in. Munis was by far the best one that everyone felt they could work with. It had probably the smallest learning curve compared to the system that we currently have. I just don't want anybody to think that this was a 3-month decision by any means. This was a multi-year. I mean, to the point where 1 year we were almost ready to go, but I couldn't recommend it because of the finances at that time. We just didn't have the money to be able to pay for the lease. I think now we do.
There was actually a separate request for information
Right.
years ago, yeah.
Council Burns?
I just have some questions. I'm just trying to understand. There's a ton of information here, and thank you for that. So I just want to make sure I'm looking at this right. So I understand that, you've got to upgrade software, and it goes, at one point you just got to do it. So if I understand this right, this is, there's a base layer of technology, and then you add modules depending on what you need, right? So I'm looking at the pages that kind of describes what I think is all the different modules with the annual fee amount and then the total sales fee and the implementation hours. And one of my questions is this customized for us? Is that why some of these implementation hours are like at 120 hours for, a specific piece?
They're estimated implementation hours, and
Right.
to the extent we don't need to use those many hours, we will have some savings on
on
the final.
that implementation fee. So, yeah. So, but are they customizing it for us or anything, or no?
Not
Not
more
real-
than bringing our data over and.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right, and then it's is it 7 years, did you say, right?
Yes,
And then they'll service it for that 7 years, right?
Yes.
yes.
All right, thanks.
Councilor Casta?
I just wanted a little background that the value is probably, I'm guessing, compliance with records needed for government, right?
Yes.
Or-
For record retention and
Yeah.
things, yes, in compliance,
Okay,
yes.
and is that, a piece of the data?
Disaster recovery,
Right.
things like that.
Is that, for example, where the figure for data conversion is coming in?
No, that is actually moving the data from the other system to there.
Yeah, but I mean, is it historical, or is it just
Oh,
what
yes,
you need to go
historical,
forward?
yes.
No, yeah, we have to
Yes.
go back. We have to bring all the data over to the new
Yeah.
system.
You have to?
We have to.
Okay, it's statutory?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to check.
Well, for New Hampshire retirement, we have to keep that information for years, because when someone retires, we have to go back into our old system to get what they earned over the years.
But you don't always have to bring it into a new system. You can have other retention strategies,
Yeah,
right?
but it's.
Okay, so,
Yeah, for comparison, we would have to go back a couple years anyways, just for the regular reporting that we do, because we
Yeah.
always go back at least 2 fiscal years when we're doing our budgets.
Are there also efficiencies that you're, I mean, I'm looking for bang for buck.
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh, yes.
definitely
Oh, yeah.
efficiencies. One of the things that personally I liked as the manager, overall manager, is the simplicity of reports that I'm gonna be able to pull up quickly for you, for if you guys have questions. Everything that I'm gonna be able to see, the hours of, how the hours are coming this week, for overtime. Across the board, I can go ratchet down to a department to how the budget's coming, how's the salt budget going, and it's going to be much more efficient that way. It's a lot more dashboards versus having the old bring out every Excel spreadsheet and try to figure out where everything is.
But on a day-to-day, I step in and the team, we're working on something, and I'll say, oh, well, in the future, because I've seen better software, I said, in the future, oh, we'll be able to get that out of our software. There's a number of Excel sheets that Carol in the office keeps up, where she will be able to just use the software to get that. Because taking stuff, downloading it, and putting into, it can bring error into it, where will be right out of there, real-time information. We do a number of things where there's cross-charges for the police, even for their details. So we have to do manual entries where we can set up for different employees, different allocations, because I've seen it. I know the software in parallel, because I've seen it on the school side. It's a Tyler product, and we do some of those allocations as well. So we have a number of accounts that people charge to for middle school, high school, like that, where the same on this side. It's not as much cross-charging, but there is some.
If you don't mind, there's one last part of my question is, so with those, are there new services that you think that the town could provide with this software that you can't do now, either because of inefficiencies, of the time, or because of the
Well, the
features in the
employee
modules?
self-service, there'll be a way to have the payroll in the system or electronically. I don't know if it all happened within the first quarter of implementation, but there's some other HR stuff that we don't have now.
There's going to be a lot, right, there's going to be a lot more. Do I think we'd offer more services?
Either internally,
Internally, yes.
or-
Externally, I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know if the motor vehicle or some of the other, the cash drawer, whether that just
That's
has
just-
features that
Yeah, that's just part of the.
you'd never seen before.
That's,
so.
yeah, no, that's what we're going to continue. We do already have that.
We have it.
But it's just continuing on. Internally, it's going to be a lot more, it's going to be easier for reporting for employees to get payroll records, because they're going to be able to just pull it up.
At open enrollment time, doing forecasts for benefits. Also, from what I understand now, I wasn't there for the formal review of the product, but I know in parallel, if you have your W-4 and you want to make a change, you should be able to see it in there and make a change. Nothing in the hard system will go over to us to look at it and push it through. So there'll be more electronic, because it is cloud-based system where you can get it from anywhere.
And I think in purchase order approval.
Oh, yes.
Will be digital.
That was the other
Timesheet
big driver.
will be digital. Versus now it's, I've got to, usually on every Friday, there's a stack when I come in.
Plus, I did preview this once in another place, and they also, the accounts payable, we can do more backup and put it right into the system. So archiving information, because we're
Bills.
running into an issue where we're going to store all of our papers that we have for years that we have to keep. So.
Counselor Bowden?
Okay, so the current system we have on site, it must have servers, I would imagine.
Yep.
Service, yes.
Servers, correct?
Yes, as a backup, and, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have to back it up to where?
That one we back up to we actually have a off-site backup.
Okay, so you're paying for offsite backup there. So you have to pay to power it, to cool it, to maintain it, update it.
With all our other servers, correct?
Correct, right. So I think another benefit of what I'm seeing here as a cloud-based solution is you're not paying for the power for those servers, which is, it's a lot.
Right, like the same we just
You
did
don't
with
have
our
to
email.
pay for the memory, you don't have to
Yep.
pay for the software updates, you're not paying for the firmware updates, the patches, the data storage, it's all cloud-based.
It's all part of the subscription.
So those are all benefits in my eyes as far as moving to a cloud-based solution versus a premise-based solution. Again, there's the disaster recovery part of it as well, as you mentioned before. I didn't see, maybe you can guide me to it as far as the bandwidth needs or bandwidth requirements.
Yeah, I don't know where it would be off the top of my head in the proposal.
I did talk to the IT director about that, because I had a concern myself, because we were also implementing a new
Phone
phone
system.
system. And I've
Which is
seen
not-
where we've had an issue with that in other places, and he felt, I gave him the specs, and he felt we would be okay.
We've had issues with the phone system and the quality.
No, no.
When it first switched over, as when anything switches over, you have some that drop, and it's just a simple, there was a programming issue. So that, it's all fixed. It wasn't that big of an issue. There's just, whenever you switch anything over to a new system, something's gonna fail. But,
Okay.
Yeah,
But the fact that we had that and that, just wanted to make sure we weren't competing.
right. It wasn't bandwidth, it was other issues.
I didn't mean to imply there was an issue with
Yeah.
phone.
No, and those are two very similar things.
Yeah.
They're both cloud-based solutions, and those are things that we have to think about as far as the bandwidth.
Yeah, it
Make
wasn't
not
that wasn't
oversubscribed.
the reasoning for it.
Or undersubscribed.
Yeah.
So, will we have enough bandwidth to
Yes.
support
Or
both?
the IT director feels we will. And if we don't, we'll increase our bandwidth. Because, to be honest, everything's going to cloud-based. So we're gonna have to, at some point, increase our bandwidth anyways, so, to make sure we have the speeds.
Council Burns?
Thank you. Thank you.
So I have another just question out of curiosity more than anything else. My background is, or what I do is technology implementation, so that's where this is kind of coming from. So for them to do this implementation, do they need to come on site, or can they do this remotely? I just see and hear some information regarding travel and travel cost,
Yeah.
which is outside of the cost. So I'm just wondering if they have to be on site to do this, or can they do this from where they're at?
My sense is there's always gonna be some on-site work. I think a lot of it will be off-site, but they still have to come here to,
Yeah, to the extent we can exchange information through email and do more of the conversion of the data that way, I will do my best to keep the
File loads, could
cost
it be
down.
like an SFTP or something
right,
like that?
that's what we would look
Yes.
at, as much as possible.
Mhm.
But there's still gonna be some on-site work.
Okay, so they will be
Yes.
required to come?
Yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest, I would, at some points of it, I want them on site so people who are going to be implementing it here can at least talk to somebody one-on-one
Mhm.
versus the.
Training,
the
when you're
But you
doing
would
the
get that through
parallel.
training, wouldn't you?
Right, yeah, well, that, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
when you're implementing.
And that, I understand training would be on site,
Yeah.
but I meant for like the actual, like, when you're merging the data over and all that.
I believe they will be off-site on that.
Okay.
But there's going to be some
Because that's a huge chunk.
right.
Okay. Thanks.
Council Thompson?
What is do they have a lifespan projected for this?
At least
mean-
7 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
But their systems, I mean.
In 7 years, do we do it all over again? Do we, what
I
is the
think we'd
percentage
upgrade.
likelihood?
I mean, we're going to continue upgrading during this. Munis has been around for a while. I mean, it's at least, gosh, I want to say at least 15 years. So it's not, I can't say it's not going anywhere because that's famous last words for anything when you say technology. But I don't see it anytime soon. I don't see anything, I mean, I think they'll be doing the regular upgrades throughout, much like we've used Vision for our assessing for years, and that's actually doing a significant upgrade in the coming year. But I don't see it anytime soon unless there's some other way to deliver it. So, I can't I don't, other than cloud-based, I don't know what else could be
The
out there.
company we have now is what?
It's Unismart, which was purchased by Tyler Technologies.
Councilor Bowden?
So after 7 years, will we own the equipment?
Yes.
Yes.
It's lease purchase.
Yes.
So there's a possibility that we could just have a service contract in place with them?
That would be, that's my
Like
understanding.
a dollar
at the end.
buyout at the end
Yeah.
for all the...
Yep, that's my understanding at the end. There's a dollar buyout, and then we continue on. If we,
At a much lower rate?
right, if we continue on with the services, they'll provide us with upgrades and items like that. Yeah, this is the initial purchase of it, that's why it's spread out.
Mhm.
Versus
I
the-
understand that. Just
Yeah.
want to make sure that that we're prepared, that we don't have, okay,
Yeah,
if we decide we don't like this or it's not working for the town, that...
It's software as a service, so they will be upgrading it as they go, as a service.
right, but it's also a lease purchase
Yes,
agreement.
both.
It's
a
always
lease-
going to be latest and greatest.
Right,
Mhm.
It's not just a subscription, in other words.
right. This isn't at the end of 7,
You can subscribe again.
right, you can subscribe to the upgrades, or you can go through this process all again.
And are there other companies besides Tyler that will support
Their
the
system.
Munis? Yes.
You know, I don't think there is. I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you that.
Okay, so you're
You're with them, yeah.
pigeonholed.
Yeah, most.
But a phone system, you could take those phones and you can have any other provider if the provider that you have, that we have now
Right.
is not doing the job
No,
at the end of
absolutely,
the
yeah.
contract. So at the end of this contract, are we pigeonholed with Tyler, or could we move to someone else?
We
It
would continue on with
sounds
them,
like-
or somebody else would, we'd have to go, like I said, go through the process again.
Go through a conversion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please call the roll.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Nay.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-1.
Okay. Moving on to new business and correspondence, we will consider several nominations for the Lamprey River Advisory Committee, and I have to say, in one meeting, your conservation, the conservation, the Energy Committee has done, if it's, assuming it's through you, or I don't know how,
Not
but...
through me.
Well, we've got we've certainly expanded our representation on the Lamprey River Advisory Committee. We have 3 nominations, 3 people have submitted applications. Gerard Martin, Monica Christophilly, and Chris Blackstone. And we'll start with a motion to nominate Gerard Martin, please.
Can I ask a question
Yes.
procedurally before we get started, if that's okay? So we have 3 nominations, and do we only have 2 positions?
I thought
Or-
they said
No,
there was...
There are
Three.
3 positions?
Yeah.
That was my memory.
And then so I was just a little confused, because one of the applications for Chris Blackstone, it was a dual application?
Yeah, he wanted to do,
So he wants to do
Yep.
both? Okay, I just wanted to make sure it
Yep,
wasn't
nope.
one or the other.
Nope.
Okay, sorry.
I thought that too.
and just for clarification, you are not appointing, you are nominating to the DES. So,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So, I would accept a motion to nominate Gerard Martin to the DES, New Hampshire DES, for the Lamprey River Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
I would also accept a motion to nominate Monica Christophilly to the New Hampshire DES for the Lamprey River Advisory Committee.
I would make a motion to nominate Monica Christophily to the Lamprey River Advisory Committee.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And I would accept a motion to nominate Chris Blackstone to the New Hampshire DES for the Lamprey River Advisory Committee.
I will make a motion to nominate, nominate Chris Blackstone to the Lamprey River Advisory Committee.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And lastly, I would accept a motion to appoint Chris Blackstone as well to the Conservation Commission for a term to expire in March 2019.
I will make a motion to appoint Chris Blackstone to the Conservation Commission.
Second.
Is there discussion?
Yeah.
Or comment? I'm just noticing on the application, it says he's applying for the Lamprey River Advisory Committee. If I'm looking at the right page?
He actually was applying for both.
Yeah, but the note says it's for the conservation, appointment to the Conservation Commission.
He filled it in.
I'm looking at the wrong thing?
No,
Oh,
no,
did he
look
You can see it.
scroll down?
There's
There's
a note there.
I still can't.
Should be a vacancy.
Oh,
Okay.
Full membership.
he
for
wanted to be
term.
considered for both.
Okay. Is
So-
this,
Yeah, should there be a vacancy overall for a Conservation Commission, I would like to be considered for that also.
Yeah, it
Okay.
says Conservation Commission member at the top on
Right.
on that.
He's looking for both.
I have no problem moving forward on that basis, because if he doesn't, he certainly looks qualified to be on the Conservation Commission if there's an opening, and if that's not the case, he wouldn't accept the position. But assuming that that's what his application is for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It says both.
okay.
Please call the roll.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, and so we have 4 resolutions or ordinances in the first reading, or all resolutions, actually. Resolution 2017-18-24, authorizing the town administrator to enter into a contract with the educational building consultants for town hall security improvements. It has been determined that the town hall requires additional safety and security measures to better protect staff, visitors, and taxpayers, and whereas the Director of Facilities requested proposals from the current contractor doing safety and security upgrades to the town hall, and whereas the town received written proposals for the requested services and educational building consultants. $10,100 is listed as the proposal, whereas the town administrator recommends that the town enter into an agreement with educational building consultants. Now therefore, let it be resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the town council authorizes the town administrator to enter into an agreement with educational building consultants to make safety and security improvements to Town Hall in the amount of $10,100, utilizing funds from the Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund. Next is Resolution 2017-18-25, authorizing the town administrator to enter in an agreement with energy-efficient investments to conduct no-cost energy auditing. Whereas it has been determined that our town and school facilities may not be operating efficiently, consuming excess fuel, oil, electricity, and water, and requiring improvements to our infrastructure to address these issues, in order to identify these issues and opportunities, a full energy audit should be conducted utilizing an energy services contracting organization. And whereas the Director of Facilities requested proposals from Energy Services Contracting Organization, and the town received 2 submissions, Siemens Building Technology of Scarborough, Maine, and Energy Efficient Investments of Merrimack, New Hampshire, and that whereas the town administrator recommends that the town enter into an agreement with Energy Efficient Investments of Merrimack, New Hampshire, to conduct a no-cost audit for the town and school facilities. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the town council authorizes the town administrator to enter into an agreement with Energy Efficient Investments Incorporated to conduct an audit with no funding required, and that Energy Efficient Investments Incorporated provides a listing of recommended performance contracting-based products. No fiscal impact is required to conduct the energy audit, and the council and the school board are not required to enter into a performance contract as a part of the agreement. The town council and school board will be provided with recommended performance contracting solutions as a part of the separate resolution should it be deemed viable for town and school facilities. And lastly, Resolution 2017-2018 oh no, there's two more actually, sorry, dash 26. Authorizing the town administrator enter into a contract with Securidyne Systems for community center safety and security improvements. Whereas it has been determined that the community center requires safety and security measures to better protect staff, visitors, and taxpayers. And whereas the Director of Facilities requested a proposal from our security contractor regarding improvements at the community center, and whereas the town received a written proposal for the requested services and security systems installation, $17,236.96, and Securidyne system recurring system agreement annually for $1,207, whereas the town administrator recommends that the town enters into an agreement with Securidyne Systems. Now therefore let it be resolved at the Newmarket Town Council that the town council authorizes the town administrator to enter into an agreement with Securidyne Systems to make safety and security improvements to the community center in the amount of $17,236.96, with funding from the Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund and the Recreation Building Capital Reserve Fund, with a cost split equally between the two funds. The recurring service agreement costs will be covered utilizing regular operating funds. The current balance in the Building Improvement Capital Reserve is $182,278, and the Recreation Building Improvement Reserve is $156,742. And just 1 second, we gotta get to 378.
Let me do it.
Go ahead.
Resolution 2017-18-27, placement of Channel 13 broadcast equipment. Whereas Channel 13 and associated streaming services a valuable asset used in keeping the citizens of the town informed, and whereas we've had many issues in the last year with the quality of recordings and in some cases complete failure of recordings and failures in broadcasting from remote locations like the high school graduations, town meetings held at the high school, and whereas we've requested quotes from 3 reputable providers of broadcast equipment that can handle what we are currently doing today, as well as position us successfully for the future. Now therefore let it be resolved that the town manager should enter into a contract with Telview Corporation for the purchase of necessary broadcast equipment and services to resolve issues with the current setup and provide us with a solid future for the amount of $29,953.70 to be taken from Channel 13 Capital Reserve Fund.
Are there any correspondence to
There are
it?
none. No.
Town council? Any closing comments by town councilors? Council Weinstein.
I just have 2 items, and the first was actually something that I should have brought up during the town administrator's report. You had mentioned, Steve, that we might be leasing some parking spaces at Beach Street, and I'm
Yes.
just curious about the lighting in that parking lot. And I just think that maybe that's something that we should
Yep.
consider, because I don't know what the state of the lighting is at the moment.
Oh, I'll actually give an update on the LED project as well. We're 32% done as of today. The weather has not cooperated with us. They shouldn't be replacing lights in the snow and rain, but they're going to come back after the holidays and wrap it up. So, and I'll have them look at it while they're there. And if we need to put some more out there, we can just add another head.
Just for safety.
Yep.
And then my other item was also about parking. And at our meeting 2 weeks ago, we talked about the possibility of talking to the Newmarket Business Association, and we would have 1 or 2 counselors go with you. And I was just wondering the state of that.
I talked to the head of the NBA Monday, and I'm going to get back to her with some dates.
Thank you.
Council Bode?
I'll quick have, daughter came in from getting the mail yesterday, and she had a hypodermic needle in her hand.
Oh, God.
She's holding like this. Daddy, what's this? I said, where did you find that? And it happened to be next to our mailbox. It's they're all around town, they're all around, they're everywhere. So teach your children not to pick these things up and to make sure to come and get mommy, daddy, or whomever. So called the cops, had them come down. They came down right away, picked it up, and got to meet our rookie.
Annalise?
Yeah, very.
She's awesome.
Very nice. She's great. So scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
And she's 12, by the way. Not Annalise, my daughter.
Well, so concludes our last meeting of 2017. Thank you all
Oh, my
for
goodness.
a very collegial and productive year, I think. And our next meeting is January 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
holidays.
happy
Thank you.
holidays.
And we're
Yep.
Thank you,
adjourned.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.